In today's video, I'll be talking about cybersecurity degrees and whether you actually need one to get into cybersecurity. This video will be split into 3 separate sections just so you get the best information possible. We'll first talk about the degree in general, then I'll go on to telling you some pros about the degree and some cons about doing the cybersecurity degree. Just remember that everything also depends on your situation, so what might be a pro in this video might actually be a con for you. So this is just more of an informational video where you can see how this fits into your situation and you know exactly what to expect going into a degree. And for context, I myself haven't done a cybersecurity degree, however I've been working in the field for around 4 years now. I also do have some colleagues that are in the field and have done a degree, so I've tried to come at this from both perspectives and have an unbiased view just so you get the best information possible. Everything is timestamped down below, so feel free to skip backwards and forwards to whichever section you feel is most important for yourself. I will also round the video off with some final thoughts, so do stick around for that. First then, let's talk about the degree in general. So when you're considering going down this route, there is also 1 or 2 maybe other routes which mainly other people go down, and that can be an apprenticeship or an apprenticeship degree where you kind of split your time with the degree and also working in the real environment, which I do really like, but I'll save that for another video if you guys are interested. However, in this case, a typical cybersecurity degree program will cover areas like threat analysis, vulnerability assessment, incident response, and development of like security policies and procedures. It essentially tries to combine theory with hands-on practical experience to try prepare you for real-world challenges. And already talking from experience, I can tell you that topics like these are vital to working in a cybersecurity role. In my current role, working in incident response, I can see that this is a very good topic that it's good to have previous background in. So it's not that you're learning topics that are not really to do with real-world challenges. Another key point that I think you should heavily consider if you're deciding to do a cybersecurity degree is to look at what different roles you can get at the end of that degree or even start to apply for at the end. You might think it's a long time away, however I'm a big believer in looking at things long term, so you'll want to know exactly what you can end up as and if it's something you find interesting or not. And just some examples are a security analyst, an ethical hacker, a network analyst, and a cloud security engineer. So before you consider going for the degree, look at some job descriptions for these types of roles and see if it's something you're interested in. And then you can see if the degree contains information that will help you get to that role. It's really important to make sure of that because you don't want to end up doing a degree that doesn't help you get the role you want in the end, as I've seen a lot of people struggle or have to change paths because they haven't learned the required information. Cybersecurity is such a wide field because it has so many different roles like these, and these are just naming a few of the number of roles that are out there. Building a strong technical foundation is basically key to succeeding in cybersecurity. In today's world, there is such strong competition for new jobs, and a degree does provide you with that good foundational backing. As you can see, you're learning lots of different information over a 3 to 4 year period. Another thing you should consider if taking this route is doing a placement year. This is usually where after your second year of university, you end up taking a year out to do some work in your field and gain some experience. That then gives you some leverage for when you graduate and need to get a job in cybersecurity, and due to the strong competition, it gives you an edge over those other people also applying. And if you're considering a degree, it is obviously the main route that most people do take. But we'll now look at some pros and cons of either doing it or not doing it. First up then, we'll look at the pros of doing a cybersecurity degree. And just remember, these may or may not be pros for you, however, it's just to get that light bulb to switch on and make you think about how this fits in your situation. First up, we have course content. So some degree programs align with industry recognized certifications, which can then help you achieve them at the same time as doing your degree, or even straight away afterwards. For example, I've seen a few courses align with the likes of Certified Ethical Hacker or Security Plus by CompTIA. These credentials will essentially boost your credibility in the job market and demonstrate a higher level of expertise, and if you have that foundational backing, it can be a lot easier for you to go straight in for these certifications compared with others who have not had that degree backing. And like I said previously, the information that's covered is very relevant to what you will be doing in the job. And you're hearing that from someone who's actually been in a cybersecurity job, saying it does definitely align. However, you should look at the role specifically that you want to go for. So that's a really good advantage of doing a cybersecurity degree. Next up, we then also have flexibility. So this kind of leans on point number 1 as well, where the degree will help open doors to a variety of career paths. And like I said before, you can get jobs like security analyst, penetration tester, or become a security consultant. Because all the knowledge and skills that you acquire from the degree basically help you and give you flexibility in choosing that specialized career track. So like I said before, it's important to know what exactly you want to get into. If you're not sure, it allows so many doors to be opened. Whereas if you go straight into work or an apprenticeship, it ends up being focused on one specific path, where your outcome will be determined as you need to get this required experience to go into this specific role. Whereas the degree path gives you that flexibility of choosing exactly what you want to go into, and also that room for changing your mind later on down the line. And then the final pro that we have here is industry relevancy. So what I mean by this is that the degree programs are specifically designed to align with current industry trends and demands, which is so important in the cybersecurity world. It's changing so fast, especially with the recent adoption of AI across multiple areas of businesses, that it ensures graduates are equipped with the latest knowledge and skills that you need to address these ever-changing cyber threats and challenges. So it's not that you're learning things 20 years out of date like a lot of other degrees. With cybersecurity, because it's changing so often, the courses will be taught by people who have been in the cyber field and are eagerly trying to keep up with it day to day. I think that this is personally such an important point because you want information that is current and right now. Because when you go into a job, you'll be needing to talk about things that are happening in the cybersecurity industry at this moment in time, not things that have happened 5 to 10 years ago. You need to be up to date and know what's happening either yesterday or tomorrow, which is what I think a degree will be able to provide you with. That's not me saying that every single degree is completely up to date. There will be information that is from years ago. However, you will have the ability to question that knowledge and say to the person teaching your course that you think this has changed, or you ask questions in terms of how does this affect the future of cybersecurity. So you have that person with expert knowledge there ready to give you advice and advise you going forward. That then covers the 3 main pros that we have for doing a cybersecurity degree. So now let's move on to the cons of doing a degree in this field. Firstly up, we have time and cost. So pursuing a degree is a significant time and financial investment and commitment. University programs will typically take 3 to 4 years to complete, and tuition costs after this can be substantial. However, in contrast, alternative routes such as certifications or self-paced courses may be more time efficient and cost effective to do instead. So this is a major con that a lot of people tend to consider before going into. Instead of doing something that takes you 6 to 7 months, you're then committing to something that will take 3 to 4 years of your life. So that is something you have to weigh up in terms of, do you want to put that time in before you get a job and go into an actual career? Or do you want to just go into doing certification straight away and try get a job in maybe even less than half the time? This also applies kind of to the point of losing interest in what you're doing. If you commit 2 to 3 years to something then you've lost interest in, have you wasted a lot of that time? So it may be something to only do if you're 100% certain on going into, because you don't want to commit 3 years and then have to drop out and change into something else that you need to commit time to instead. The second point we then have is practical experience. So some can also argue that the degrees may not provide enough hands-on experience compared to alternative routes like certifications or internships, or even self-directed learning, which can offer more direct training and real-world exposure. So because of a degree, it's often seen as just sitting in a classroom and learning for 3 years, whereas doing an apprenticeship or self-studying can be however you make it. So that is probably a big con when looking at pros versus cons in terms of doing a degree. Are you more of a learner in a classroom, or are you more of a self-learner at home and gaining that practical experience at the same time? Of course, I'm trying to give you an unbiased view here, so some may argue against this point and say you can do what I told you before, which is a placement year. So whilst doing your degree, or after the second year, you can do a placement year or an internship over the summer to gain that practical experience and gain that edge for when it comes to graduation and applying for your first cybersecurity job. So that's just 50-50 and seeing both sides of the coin there. And then in terms of the third point, we have adaptability. So traditional degree programs often have a fixed curriculum, and you as a student will not really have the ability to be flexible or customize the education based on your specific interest or specific industry demands. Basically what the university sets and tells you you're going to learn is what you're going to learn. You don't have the opportunity to say that you don't want to study a specific module just because you're not interested, or tell them to change it. Whereas alternative routes, such as self-directed learning, allows for a more personalized and adaptable learning journey. So if you have a specific outcome, or you change your mind after 5 to 6 months, you can adapt your learning as you see fit. Whereas if you're in a degree and you're a year in, you basically have to drop out if you're not interested anymore. You can't change what's happening in your second and third year for that specific degree or curriculum. So that seems more rigid if you're looking at a degree and you want that flexibility. So it depends how you decide to view it and how you see your interest in cybersecurity going. That then covers the cons that we've had. So now that we've seen both sides of the coin, let's talk about what you should actually do. And I want to start this off with first saying, if your question is, do you actually need a cybersecurity degree to get into cybersecurity? Then no, because I don't have a degree in cybersecurity. However, I've been working in the field for 4 years, so it's definitely not a requirement. However, there is an argument there that may say it makes the recruitment process a lot easier if they see that you have a degree. And when we're talking about master's degrees, that's a whole nother conversation about working your way up the ladder in the cybersecurity field. So that's a separate video for a separate time. However, talking about a degree specifically, overall, I think a degree is becoming more of a checkbox rather than the fact that you need to actually do it to learn the fundamentals and get a job. And the same applies to a master's, as I just said. People tend to only go for them to make it easier when applying for paid jobs, rather than actually for the knowledge that you need. What I actually think is that you should look at what type of learner you are and what opportunities you have in front of you. If you have more money and you're not really considering, or you don't really like studying in a classroom for 3 years and the thought of it just completely puts you off cybersecurity, then that's not a route you should consider. You should not consider going down a degree. Whereas if you're a person that isn't really good at self-directed learning and you don't have that motivation in front of you, and you're young so you don't have a lot of money for certifications, then a degree route is something you should definitely consider. Either route can be blended to help make it work for you. If you go down a degree route, you can do, like I said, placements or summer apprenticeships to give you that practical experience. Whereas if you go down an apprenticeship route or a degree apprenticeship, you can make sure you learn those fundamentals that help it apply to your career path. So if you need some more help, then please do click the link in the description or the comment section where you can join our Discord and ask some questions just to get some help on your path and discuss with others who are also going through the same thing. And if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like down below. It massively helps it out and tells me you're enjoying this type of content. If you did enjoy it, I can create a follow-up video talking about master's degrees and seeing the pros and cons of them. And if you have any other video ideas, please do leave a comment down below letting me know.